Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, my question to the Premier. When the government set up a website to ask Ontarians for budget ideas, the second most popular idea was to stop the sale of Hydro One. People of Ontario know that Hydro One fire sale will drive up their electricity costs while costing the public hundreds of millions of dollars a year in stable, long-term revenue. The Premier desperately wants to distract the people of Ontario from the sale of Hydro One, but beer and wine announcements don't seem to be doing the job anymore. Is the government ignoring the people who spoke at budget hearings, disrespecting this legislature, and rushing ahead with early budgets just so it can change the channel on Hydro One?
Thank you. Premier, Minister of Energy.
Mr. Speaker, I know that the member from Toronto, Danforth, has been in this place for quite a long time, but he keeps promulgating myth after myth after myth. Mr. Speaker, he's the most myth-taken man.
That's too close. I'm going to ask the member to withdraw.
Withdraw, Mr. Speaker. Okay. Mr. Speaker, he should get his facts straight. Okay, first of all, in terms of Hydro One, $5 billion will go to paying down debt, Mr. Speaker. $4 billion will be invested in infrastructure, Mr. Speaker. And that will not come from taxes, it will not come from increasing our debt, and it will not come from cuts, Mr. Speaker. It is responsible fiscal management. It's repurposing our assets, Mr. Speaker, in order that we can provide more services and more economic development for the people in the province of Ontario.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Speaker, Ontarians know that the sale of Hydro One is not about them or their interests. They know it's about the interest of the Liberal Party and their Bay Street friends. The sale of Hydro One shows a government that can't think beyond the next election, while it ignores the long-term interests of Ontario families. Will the government finally put the interests of Ontario families ahead of the interests of the Liberal Party and stop the sale of Hydro One?
Thank you. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the premise of the question is that electricity rates are going to be going up in Ontario. They've been saying that across the province over and over again, Mr. Speaker. They know, Mr. Speaker, that the Ontario Energy Board is the independent regulator that controls prices. They've done it before the broadening of ownership from Hydro One. They're doing it afterwards, Mr. Speaker. As a matter of fact, the Ontario Energy Board, in legislation that we've passed in this legislature, is strengthening the role of Ontario Energy Board so that if any utility, including Hydro One, is not abiding by the rules, they're subject to a fine of $1 million a day, Mr. Speaker, on the order of the Ontario Energy Board. There's stronger regulation, the people of Ontario are better protected, and Hydro One will not be able to raise its own rates.
Thank you.